All right, awesome. We are live. All right, so guys, everyone, we are here today with Dan, Maverick, Ray. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, guys.
And Dan is a SEO expert, and he runs an SEO agency, and he is the owner of. I actually need to read the name of the group because it's really long. And the name of the Facebook group is the super cool Dan Ray White SEO link building group. Is that right?
White hat.
White hat. All right.
It's not racist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My mistake. White hat. All right. And he has his own link building system. So he's an SEO expert, and he can help businesses to more traffic, more revenue, more leads using only organic search results. So Dan, why don't you introduce yourself a little? Tell us a little bit more about your background, where you come from, and why did you get into SEO game?
Okay, first off, nobody calls me Dan Maverick Ray. That's a joke between me and one of my friends. We both argue over who is Maverick and who is Goose. If any.
Okay.
I know it's a little bit old now, but my generation, we love Top Gun. So yeah, basically, as you're aware, there is a video that explains this in way more detail, but I'm a disabled person, I guess. So I have kidney disease and I have diabetes. These two things work really hard against each other, so you can only sort of treat one at a time. So essentially it made me unable to have a full-time job or whatever. So I needed to figure out a way to make enough money with working as little time as possible, so that I could still be comfortable. I started an SEO agency just completely by accident. I wanted to be a writer when I was in university. And then people asked me, oh, can you SEO your articles? And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Then they started offering me twice as much money to do it. So I figured I'd work it out. So then I started doing SEO. Then I figured, oh shit, like, you know, if they're paying me this much money to write an article, how much could I make writing an article for myself? So then it's like you start going down the SEO rabbit hole. So I started working on that. And then I basically built an agency just by walking around my local town, figuring out who had a website and who had a phone number. I would take their phone numbers down, call them, be like, oh, here's what I can do for you. Are you interested in it? A lot of them said yes. Most said no. And then what happens is sort of almost every 2 years, like clockwork, my kidneys fail. So it's like, it's really hard to maintain clients if you're in hospital for a month and then feeling shit for another month after that. So this happened to me twice, and I built two agencies, essentially lost all my clients, built it again, lost all my clients again. So I had to figure out a way to systemize it and sort of take myself out of the business. So that's what I do now. And I guess we'll talk more about that as we get into the interview.
That's interesting. So you started as a writer. Well, who were your clients? Like these clients you were writing articles for?
They were relationship.
Okay. All right.
So it's like how to meet girls. And I wrote for a man's blog that was how to meet girls, and I wrote for a women's blog on how to meet guys.
so you know both sides. It's interesting.
Well, it's essentially the same article reworked.
yeah, makes sense. All right, before we continue, I want to introduce you again, like really quickly for all the people who are joining right now. So we are here with Dan Ray, who is an SEO expert, and he runs an SEO agency. And he has a pretty interesting story. So make sure you will check the replay of this interview as well. All right. So Dan, tell me a little bit more about your agency, because I saw on your YouTube channel that you are quite active on how to build an agency, how to get clients, and so on. Why did you decide to build an agency like in the first place? Was it only because of the money and the time involvement?
it was purely opportunist.
Mm-hmm.
It was I know how to do this thing and I don't have a lot of money. These people have a lot of money and they need this thing that I can do. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just purely by chance. I don't think you could recreate exactly what I did now because there are far too many people selling SEO. And
Okay.
far too many people have already bought SEO and been burned by it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So right now I don't have an SEO agency. I have a link building agency. So we just do link building because it sort of, it almost filters out certain types of people. So anybody who doesn't know what SEO is, they're not going to try and buy a link building.
Okay.
Anybody who doesn't understand the benefit of white hat link building is not going to get in contact with me. Anybody who wants things to happen instantly, they're not going to get in contact with me because I have my entire agency runs through what I call like the core content piece. And what this is, it's a piece of content. You can see it on my website. It's granular detail, exactly what I do when you become my client. It essentially explains my entire system, gives examples and stuff like that. So people buy into the process and the desire to do things in a white hat manner more than they want to buy SEO results. So it's now I filter out all the people who are sort of saying, you know, I want to rank first for this keyword in the next 2 months. They're not my clients. My clients are large companies who they probably already have an SEO team, somebody doing their on-page SEO and things like that. They have a PPC team and they just need a solid, reliable source of white hat links. And that's all we are to them. It removes all of the expectation of the responsibility, of us providing an actual result.
Okay.
So all we do, it's like going to the store and buying a drink, right? We're the
I got
drink.
it. So you just don't want to promise that, hey, I will rank you on a first ranks of Google.
Yeah, because anybody who does that, they're flat out lying. Anybody who says to you, we will rank you first and it'll cost you this much money, they don't know they can do that.
And internet is full of these like claims, especially on, I don't know, really low cost sites such as Fiverr. I will rank you on the first rank of Google for $5, which is
exactly right. And how many people would be millionaires if you could actually do that?
Exactly. Yeah. Imagine being rank one on web hosting term, like for $5.
I would start 100 businesses today. And just hire whoever said, I guarantee you get to first page because I'd be a billionaire by tomorrow.
All right, let's jump back into the backlinks. What do you see as like the biggest or most common problem when it comes to building backlinks for your site or for your content?
Overcomplication, I think, is the main problem. Building backlinks in a white hat way is probably the most simple thing in the entire world, right? You have something cool, you create a list of people who find it cool, you show it to them, and you follow up until they see it. That's the entire thing. There's nothing else required other than that. Obviously, you can get more granular on each of those 4 steps, but as long as you have something cool and people who think it's cool, they're going to link back to it.
So it all begins on crafting a really cool cornerstone piece of content that you can send out and get backlinks like organically from.
To some extent, yeah. But you can have a really shit piece of content that just happens to hit the right angle or be the right timing. So if you have content right now that's about Game of Thrones, you can get loads of links to it, even if it's not good. Just because people are really hungry for Game of Thrones content. Same with Avengers. You may be 2 weeks late for that. But as a new huge movie comes out, Star Wars will be huge at Christmas. If you can somehow meld your content with the angle of Star Wars or something that's really big that people are hungry for content for, you're leaving links on the table if you're not doing that.
That's interesting. That's yeah. I mean, it makes total sense. So like when I was checking your YouTube channel, I want to go a little bit further into your agency work and on how you are actually like teaching people on how to build their own agency, because I saw some like income claims there, how to get clients this big and this way. Is it really true? Can you like really deliver what you are saying like in these videos? Because there are so many like income claims. Hey, you can make this amount of money in this amount.
So I really try not to do income claims. Mm-hmm. If you've seen that on my channel, it's from a long time ago.
That's true.
Because now I'm selling on the process. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I want people to say, here's how I do it. And the way that my model works is I give everything up front. It's like, here is a link building system that's completely free. All you have to do is like join the messenger bot or whatever, and you can opt out a day later. Mm-hmm. And that will teach you how to build guest posts and resource page links, which they're two fairly low value forms of links. But what they do is they're proof of concepts for my systems. If you can build an infinite amount of these types of links, you can build almost any if you follow the rest of my stuff. I do the same for building an agency. So it's like, here's how to do it for completely free. Mm-hmm. If you want the systemized versions, and so it's just pretty much copy and paste, then you can give me money later. But I never want to take money off somebody who hasn't already made money from my teaching. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So income very high from this because the margins are so big. But I try not to sell based on, you'll make X amount of money per month. I say, if you want to work hard and build an agency, here's how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Are you doing it all on yourself, or do you have a team around you?
I don't do anything at the moment. It's the entire, everything that I do can be handed off to somebody else who values their time at much less monetary value. Mm-hmm. So we're paying you can have a team of 3 people for a combined total of about $15 per hour, running your entire agency for you. Mm-hmm.
And you can delegate these tasks only because I actually read about you that you are really good at systemizing businesses.
Because the systems are so foolproof. Almost anybody who can read English and follow a set of instructions can fulfill using my system.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. All right, tell me more about how do you actually delegate your work? Because a lot of people in our group are building teams as well, and like when it comes to building a team and delegation of your work and outsourcing, it's really difficult because you are giving up your responsibility. And like, at least from my point of view, from 3 years ago, I thought that I can do the job really the best, and it was really difficult to get someone on board to do it for me, right? So how did you overcome this state of mind? It's a state of mind, really.
That's never been something that I've been concerned about. Mm-hmm. Because I'm inherently lazy. I would always risk.
Okay.
But I would always risk, give it to this person and have them get to the point of failure, or I step in and I could fix what they've done. Mm-hmm. So it's like if we're doing a month-long campaign and by 3 weeks they're not really performing, I can generally step in and do what needs to be done in a week.
Okay.
There's never been a concern that if they can't do it, I fire really fast. If somebody's not up to the job, I get rid of them straight away. Mm-hmm. Some people think it's a little bit harsh and people are a lot nicer than I am. But I tend to be, if they can't do it straight away, almost off the bat, then I'm not going to stick with that person. I'm not trying to train staff. I'm trying to find people who can do what I want them to out of the box.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You mentioned 1 week that you're measuring results in 1 week. Isn't it like too short for SEO?
For SEO, yes. For link building, no. You can absolutely get 5 to 10 links in a week. I'm doing it at the moment so in my paid group, what I've done is almost given them. People find the hardest thing is to get new clients. Mm-hmm. So in order to sort of subsidize that, I'm giving them my clients. Mm-hmm. So they're almost the people who pay to be in my group. I'm giving them clients and taking a cut myself. And recently one of them could not fulfill as well as we expected. They did about half as well as we want. So for example, we're selling 10 links a month, and this guy did 5 for me.
Okay.
So in the last week, I've done the other 5 just to make it up. So it's absolutely, it's simply a numbers game. Once you have a systemized way of doing it, it's how many people do we need to contact in order to get 5 links? And then you just do that over and over again.
So it was, in the end, it was all about not putting in a required work.
To some extent, but there's I know how well I can do things.
Yeah.
And the problem is that a lot of people who try to learn from me, they try to match my level of doing things. So when I'm selling, I say I'll do 200 targets and guarantee 10 links for those 200 targets. And other people try to do that. And when they've done it for a month, they realize it's more like, they might have to do double that to get the same result. Well, that's because I've seen, thousands and thousands of emails. I've seen thousands and thousands of replies. And it's like, when you're playing a computer game and it's like the tree of, you have to ask the right question in the right order to get to the right answer. And you can sort of start to see how those conversations unfold, and you can sort of steer it in the right direction. And it comes with pure experience. If you've not got that experience, you can't do what I can do.
Makes sense. All right. Let's go a little bit more general right now. Because yes, you're a backlink expert, but of course you're a SEO expert as well. And I want to ask you, do you have some SaaS clients or people in a software industry?
Not at the moment, but I have had in the past.
And if you could share maybe, I don't know, a few things about what is the most important thing for most of the founders is to get customers for as low as possible and keep them, right? So with SEO, you have almost no costs to acquire the customers. And I want to ask you, what would you recommend to software companies, to SaaS companies, to generate leads and generate customers using SEO? Is it only about writing good piece of content and sending it out to people who will backlink?
If they're looking for links, then that's the way to do it. To be more specific, what you want to do is, who are you helping? Because, before we went live, I asked you, who are your audience and how can I help them best, right? Because I think that's the most important question you ever need to ask. So, for example, I have you've probably seen this on one of my YouTube videos. I call it the big 4 in link building. And what it is, if you can help elderly people, if you can help children, if you can help people with a physical disability or a learning disability, if you can hit one of those 4 things and genuinely help those communities, they're so passionate and they will just give you links for free all day long. You can actually genuinely help those communities.
But it's quite difficult in a software industry. You said that you had people in the past from software, and I can actually imagine how some softwares would help children or disabled people or elder people.
So the one that we had was I don't know how you would call it, an internal communications tool. So businesses will pay them a monthly fee or whatever, and then they talk internally, and so what we did was we added an extra app to it that would help people. We called it the late line.
Okay.
So what it did, if you were late for work or you were having a sick day or whatever, you tap it on the app rather than, having to call someone and contact someone. And we marketed this to people with physical disabilities who struggle to get into work.
Okay.
Right, because if you're diabetic, right? If you have a hypo in the morning, you don't necessarily want to call somebody to tell them you've had a hypo and you can't be in work that day. But tapping an app makes that way, way, way more accessible.
Yeah, that's true. Before we continue, we are talking about diabetes terms because we both have a diabetes, Dan and me.
Diabetic
crew, yeah. And hypo means that you are really low on your blood sugar. right? And you don't really feel like doing anything when you have low blood sugar. So the example Dan gave us is that you just push a button and you don't go.
It's a very specific example, but also if you have an example that's specific, you can then target every single website that talks about diabetes and how hard it is for diabetics to get to work. Because they're really passionate about that thing, right? So it's a really rich source of links, even though it's really, really niche.
That's interesting. This is really out of box thinking about SEO, because it's not about, hey, here's what we do, do something with it. But you actually, did you come up with this idea to create the app?
Oh, the app itself was already theirs, but the idea to have the late line was my idea.
That's awesome. All right. What would you say that is the most important aspect for you while doing like your agency work right now? And it can be pretty much anything. It can be like that you don't work that often, or
for me, that the most important thing is lack of stress.
Lack of stress. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not at a stage in my life now where I want to be worrying about, is this client happy, or having a client call me on a Tuesday evening, you know, when I'm trying to watch a movie or whatever. I really just don't want that to happen. So the number one thing I try to do now, I'm really harsh with clients, and I make it sort of a bit of a dick to them. So I make it like almost impossible to get a hold of me. I don't ever want a client contacting me. So what I've done is every Wednesday between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m, it's a free for all. If you're a client, you can call me and talk about whatever you. If you want to talk about the football results at the weekend, that's your time, right? Between 12 and 4, any client can call me and talk about anything. Any other time, I can't guarantee I'm getting back to you. Well, that's just my own. I understand that somebody new getting into this will not be at that stage, but that's just where I am in my life at the moment.
No, I mean, one would say that it's a selfish thing to do it like this, but in the end, it's beneficial for the clients as well, right? Because you are in more like relaxed state, and you can deliver better results than just
what you find is that clients worry about nothing. And sometimes they'll just, if they haven't contacted you for 2 weeks, they'll contact you just for the sake of contacting you. And I really try to avoid all of that. So I make it clear up front, if things are going well, you will not speak to me. Like if I'm contacting you, that's when we've got a problem. I think it's really important to like set those boundaries. Like, we're not friends. You're paying me money to deliver a service, right? I'm like the milkman. You pay my bill every week and I'll deliver your milk. It just happens to be that my milk is links.
Did you have any not positive reaction on this approach from
Oh yeah, absolutely. There are people who just do not want to work with me, and that's fine. I'll just work with the next person who does want to. It's almost like everything that I do and everything that I say is a filter. So if you join my Facebook group now, are you in my Facebook group?
In your super cool group?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So the first thing you see when you join that group, it's, what's it called?
I'm not really sure.
The suck Dan's dick method to getting links and clients. Right?
I'm going to check it. Yeah, I think it was something crazy like this.
Yeah, it's going to put off a certain type of person, and a type of person who doesn't care what language I use, but just wants the valuable information. They're going to watch it and take away the value from it. Everything that I do is almost a filter, right? I don't know what your audience is like. Can I drop a C-bomb?
If you can drop what?
A C-bomb.
I don't know what it is.
All right, I'm going to say the word cunt.
Yeah, all right. Say it.
Right? I say it a lot in my group, to my audience, to my clients, because I think it really puts a filter on people. If somebody gets offended by that word, they're probably not going to like the way I do things or my attitude to other things. And it's not for everyone, but it works for me.
It makes sense, yeah. Like similar approach has Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm pretty sure that you know Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
he's cursing a lot. And I think it all boils down to not being neutral, not being in the middle. Because I think there are people who either love you or hate you. I think if there are people who are like, I don't know, I don't care, it's just not good for your personal brand, I guess. So
yeah,
I think,
I've met both of those people.
yeah, but the good thing is that both parties talk about you, and people who don't like you talk about you even more. So I think you're doing it right. All right, Dan. I think it's almost time to wrap it up. I'd like to ask you one last thing. If you'd be starting out again, what would you do different?
I don't think you could do anything of what I did now. So I'd have to do everything differently. Mm-hmm. I think the world has soured on the SEO offering.
Okay.
So what I did then was I told people I can raise your traffic, or I can improve your search rankings, and this will bring you more clients. I think it's really essential now that you offer something very specific. So if you guys want to do, I'll just do SEO audits, mm-hmm. and I'll charge £5,000 for one. Mm-hmm. Or you just want to do link building, just do link building, and really focus on one specific thing. And not just focus on something that's systemizable and something that's reliable, and you can recreate it reliably. You don't want to say, oh, we'll increase your traffic by 20% if you can't increase every single client's traffic by 20% who comes to you.
Mm-hmm. So it's about finding your niche within the SEO.
Just in business in general, mm-hmm. I think one of the most solid ways to sell what we're selling now is by paid traffic. If you can run a Facebook ads campaign really well, that's perfect to sell to businesses now.
Yeah.
If you know how to target, you know how to convert,
mm-hmm.
then sell Facebook ads, man. Mm-hmm. It's easy to do, and it's worth a lot of money to clients. If you can do the same with Google ads, your conversion rate's going to be higher, but it's less of a sort of interrupt.
It's all about
just focus on that one thing that you're really good at, mm-hmm. and that you can reliably repeat.
I think in the end, the clients really don't care about how do you deliver if you deliver. Like all the SEO, all the Googles and Facebooks are just a vehicle of change.
Yeah, exactly.
You can deliver the results.
Because this is something that Gary Vaynerchuk says. There's never going to be a better price to buy Facebook ads at.
That's true.
If you've got £10,000, if you've got £10,000 now, you can get maybe 10,000 clicks off Facebook. Mm-hmm. If you buy next week, it might be 9,999, mm-hmm. and it will just go down every week from now on forever. Yeah.
Well, I think we just scratched the surface, but I think the last thing is that we give an opportunity to each our guests here to just pitch for SaaS Founders is their product, for marketing influencers such as yourself is to pitch your community to our community, and you have 90 seconds to do so. So like, feel free to tell anything you want about your community, to invite our members to join and network in there as well. So I'm ready when you're ready.
I'll do it in
90 seconds. Yeah.
All right. Cut out 80 seconds. You're going to have to fill 80 seconds.
Okay.
I'll just say that. Join my group. It's probably the tips. Done.
All right. Yesterday we had the shortest one, but I think today we had.
Someone beat me.
No, actually, you beat them. It was 30 seconds yesterday, and today it was just a 10. You were really.
Yeah, I'm not here to sell.
Awesome. All right, then. Thanks a lot for joining, even though it was quite difficult for you because of the traffic. And thanks a lot for sharing the story. And if you could just stay active in the community, that'd be really awesome. We have
absolutely. If I can help, I will. If I can't, I'll keep it stum.
Perfect. We have a question in the comment section, so I will tag you there, and I'll be very happy if you could just answer.
Yeah,
this
leave any questions below, and I'll hit them up later today.
All right. Thanks a lot, and enjoy your day.
Cool. You too.
Bye.